This is the Barbados Today evening news for Tuesday, January 9. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary Claire Williams. Our top story this evening, the Ministry of Health is investigating 35 suspected cases of gastroenteritis on the South Coast. Acting Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Kenneth George, says the majority of cases occurred over the Christmas holidays, and the last report was a single case on January 3rd. Dr. George says so far their investigations suggest that the cause of the outbreak is likely to be viral in nature, and while investigations are continuing, no organisms have been identified through lab testing. He added that the outbreak was not linked to any particular food or beverage. Meanwhile, the Chief Environmental Health Officer, Francina Bascom, says her department has increased the number of officers assigned to the area impacted by sewage problems to 15. The team has stepped up inspection of food businesses as well as increased its mosquito control activities. The department says the team has also widened the area of coverage to stretch from the Top Rock roundabout to Hastings. Workers at the Treasury building say they can no longer cope with what they say is the sickening environment on the first floor of that building. Angry employees told Barbados Today that several staffers have been constantly suffering from respiratory problems since last year. The National Union of Public Workers say they are investigating the matter. In other news this evening, the family of Terence Brathwaite of Gall Hill in Christchurch was today trying to make sense of his untimely death. The body of the 25-year-old was discovered around 11 o'clock this morning at Silver Hill, face down with what appeared to be a gunshot wound to the left side. His mother, Kathy Brathwaite, told reporters she could not understand why anyone would want her son dead.
Everybody in the neighborhood ask people about cutting little grass. Yeah, he smoke a little bit, anybody, so what? He ain't killing nobody. You know what I'm saying? He got work. The man come there yesterday, the man sit down like Terrence saying, God, be wrong with this boy because if this boy was still there, after this boy ain't coming work, this boy is staying straight and playing. He gonna call you and he just say, I can't make it today. And the man said that's really. You know what I'm saying? You don't hear anybody saying that boy was a bad boy, because he wasn't a bad boy.
He was not.
You know, even when rambunctious, retired, some of those things that don't want him, but that's just how children is. You know what I'm saying? But he was not a bad child. You know what I'm saying? He deserved this. If he don't want to move, should move people, and this happened, well, I would say, well, okay. But he don't do this thing. He just, wrong place, wrong time.
And police are asking anyone with information relating to the incident to contact the Oistins police station at 418-2612 or 418-2608. You can also contact the police emergency number 211 or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-8477 or the nearest police station. Meanwhile, police have named the man who died suddenly in the city on Monday evening. He is 68-year-old Ainsley Anthony Walton of St. Patrick's, Christchurch. Walton was walking along Bridge Street around 6:15 when he collapsed and died. Barbados Light and Power Company is still trying to determine what caused yesterday's island-wide power outage. Electricity went off around 2:30 yesterday afternoon, just before the installation of the new Governor-General, Dame Sandra Mason. The ceremony went ahead after power was quickly restored around Parliament buildings, but it was about 12 hours later before full service was restored around the island. Managing Director Roger Blackman told a teleconference this afternoon that the company was forced to implement an electricity service rotation throughout the night. Blackman apologized for the interruption in service and explained that the explosion occurred on one of the circuit breakers, which formed part of the protective system at the power generating plant. He said the breach affected the other generating stations on Spring Garden and the Garrison in St. Michael and Trent's in St. Lucie. This resulted in the island-wide blackout.
And we were able to restore half of the substation into service. That substation is one of our generating substations, meaning that we have generating plant at it. And in fact, we have 4 units there. And we have been able to restore one of those 4 units. We expect a second one back today. And the 3rd and 4th units would be contingent on what we find as we continue our investigation on the affected switchgear.
Blackman added that the company will also evaluate the protective systems in the coming weeks.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Thank you for staying with us. We're back with news from the region. Law courts in Guyana are reporting a backlog of up to 10,000 cases. And the Attorney General Basil Williams says urgent action needs to be taken to address that problem. We get more in this report from HGP Nightly News.
In 2014, President Donald Ramotar had increased the number of High Court judges from 11 to 20 to help reduce the backlog of cases. But it seemed as though that strategy did not yield sufficient rewards, as the clogging of the courts system kept increasing. That's how Attorney General Basil Williams described the situation on Monday.
We have a lot of cases. There are tens. The last count we had was 10,000, but there's far more that are backlogged.
The government had earlier suggested to retain judges, supplemented by the establishment of night courts to help with the issue of huge backlog of cases. But according to Mr. Williams, support for these initiatives have not materialized. He said he had approached the Inter-American Development Bank for assistance, but the IDB had not indicated a willingness to assist, since the institution had helped the previous administration in this regard, but saw no meaningful results.
I believe, though, that measures such as having a transparent process like the digital voice verbatim recording system in courtrooms will speed up trials and hearings and give you an accurate record, and you know, the evidence is recorded electronically, and you could get a printout within a short space of time. As you know, there was a pilot project funded by the IDB for that, but as I indicated, when I came in here, I discovered, at the behest of the last chancellor, we discovered the equipment were hidden in here by missing on the land, rather than putting it out there in the courtrooms.
The Attorney General said that he is resolute to ensure that there is access to justice.
On the international scene, North and South Korea held their first talks in more than 2 years today, and Washington is hailing the meeting as a good first step in solving the crisis over the North's missile program. We get the details in this Reuters report.
A potential thaw in relations between North and South Korea. After 11 hours of discussion, the first talk since December 2015, the pair released a joint statement announcing they have agreed on negotiations to resolve problems as well as military talks aimed at averting accidental conflict. But Pyongyang says it will refuse to discuss its nuclear weapons.
Regarding the nuclear issue, our strategic weapons, including atomic bomb, hydrogen bomb and intercontinental ballistic missiles, are only aimed at the United States, not our brethren.
The hotly anticipated meeting began after a North Korean delegation strode across the world's most heavily militarized border into the south, crossing it for the first time in more than 2 years. Seoul and Pyongyang kicked off the formalities with an optimistic outlook on the upcoming Winter Olympics, set to be held just kilometres away from the border next month. North Korea has confirmed it will send a delegation to the Games, including high-ranking officials and athletes, along with the country's famous cheering squad, which has been a huge hit in the South in their rare past appearances. During discussions, the South's Unification Ministry said Seoul asked its neighbour to halt hostile acts that stoke tension on the peninsula, and in return, the North agreed that peace should be guaranteed in the region. South Korea had also proposed a reunion of family members in time for February's Lunar New Year holiday, but there was no mention of that in the joint statement.
That's news this evening. Remember, there's more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also find us on Mix 96.9 FM. I am Marie Claire Williams. Good evening.